Going on, bums and bumheads? It's your boy M. From bringing you your Smash Mouth Fantasy Football Cast Week 5 wrap up. If you guys have any questions about your lineups, players that you need to start, or sits, the trends, the winners or the losers, make sure you put them in the comments below. Now, this week was a rough week for the Schwab. Unfortunately, we did not do well. We ended up finishing up pretty much 0-5, including the upset alert. So that brings us to 12-7-2 on the week and on the year thus far. To start with my San Diego Spartans. Man, I was looking good, keeping up the 3-point win going into the Bengals game. And then the Bengals played the Patriots, and I took an 8-point loss. And they snatched the win out from underneath my nose. So, you know how that goes. Porky's Revenge. Man, I had that one. I didn't have that one right either. Demaryius Thomas had 34 points, but it wasn't enough. And Generalissimo Zoe went down by 1 point. Now, this Team Paru game was probably the most questionable of them all because he had 3 monsters that were predicted to go at least 20 points per each individuals, and they ended up dealing was a tie. As expected, the Cards defense couldn't handle business, and fuck your team, Raider Nation. Gave up too many points, and all their wide receivers, big time wide receivers, were left on the bench for some reason. I have no clue what was going on there. East Oakland Raider Mob, I had with my upset special. Roll out. I thought he was going to be able to handle business, but he couldn't get it done against the Greycourt Hogz. Both teams left a lot of points on the bench, and roll out. Still got guys who are inactive playing the game, so you know how that goes. The hot streak is over. Moving on to our winners and losers. Let's start out with our winners. So basically, anybody who had Peyton Manning, he had 34 points altogether. So, you know, that worked out good. As I expected, Brian Quick, the number 2 receiver in St. Louis, had a great game. He had 5 catches on 9 targets for 87 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a great game. Demaryius Thomas, he had 8 catches on 16 targets for 226 yards, which is a franchise record for a tight end, and he had 2 touchdowns. Now, here's an interesting stat. My number 4 list of winners. Anyone who had Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas at the same time, they combined for 65 points. Now, that sounds, arbitrary, but the truth of the matter is they're owned by 28.8% of people as a combo in the ESPN Index leagues. My number 5 winner of the week was Austin Davis, who was 29 for 49 with 375 and 3 touchdowns. He's somebody to look out for in St. Louis as a quarterback. I put him in the same category as Ryan Tannehill. And then my number 6 guy was Andre Ellington, who had 144 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. Now for my losers. The Bengals defense. I had the Bengals defense. Statistically, they were expected to hold it down against the Patriots. They couldn't get it done. They ended up giving up negative 8 points. Expected a big game from Julio Jones, but he only came up with 3 points. One of my biggest losers of the season in general, anyone who drafted RG3. Another really frustrating person to have on your team, Larry Fitzgerald. He's 12 catches on 36 targets in the last 3 games and has only had 3 catches in the last 3 games alone. Anyone who sat Tom Brady, this was obviously the week to have him, but as the way the Patriots offense has been going, there was no way to predict that would hold up the way it did. And anyone who started Ladarius Green, the second tight end in San Diego. Now, I know that a lot of people were on the San Diego weapons because they're playing all these low-ranked pass defenses. And for some reason, Ladarius Thomas started in over 11% of ESPN index leagues. So I think that made a little bit of a difference. Now, on to our trends. Now, in terms of a trend, Michael Crabtree, from what I've seen so far, is not going to catch fire this year. There's turmoil in the locker room. The coaching situation has become very tumultuous. I don't expect him to have too many big games where he's in some sort of rhythm. Which brings me to my second trend. Offensive teams require a rhythm in order for all the weapons to be used to the best of their ability. If you have a guy whose team is not in rhythm, then don't expect that guy to get the ball a whole bunch. Another trend to look out for. I know it sounds crazy, but you might want to go pick up a couple pieces from Oakland, because here's the thing. Teams coming out of the bye since 2001 are over 70% chance of winning their next game, and usually by 10 points or more. So there might be a couple Raider pieces that you might want to look at too, even if you're just putting them on the bench for safekeeping. With that said, the number four trend to go with that: hit the wire early. Don't wait until Wednesday night to start looking at pieces, because anything that's worth having has probably gotten scooped up, unless you're in a league full of knuckleheads, like I am. Number 5 trend, and I think this is really important. Now is not the time to be stashing pieces unless you need an immediate trade. You need to make sure that your bench is deep, tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs, specifically running backs. Now is the time, because we're seeing a lot of running back by committee unless you own a DeMarco Murray. I've added a new segment to the Tuesday lineup that might become also a pull-out segment. It's called What You Need to Know. Now, I had a couple people who hit my inbox early on Thursday looking for help and looking to have some questions answered. Here's something that's really important to know. I understand that you love your teams, and there's nothing wrong with that, but now is not the time to be trying to go get guys from your own team, even if your team is 4-1 or 3-2. You need to be focused on having as much objectivity as possible when picking your players, okay? I had a couple people who had Houston Texans and Chargers and were trying to, make 75 to 85% of their lineup with their team of choice that they rock the jersey for. That is not how fantasy football is played, and you're asking to get your ass kicked week in and week out if you expect your own personal team to be able to get you through what's going to become a very lean winter. Don't do that. Make sure you diversify your team and make sure you're looking at statistics. This is how fantasy football is played. All right, so a couple quick reminders. Make sure that you have your lineup set. Make sure you don't have guys in on the bye. If you have any questions, please feel free to hit me in the comment box below, whether it be on YouTube or in the Smash Ball group. Also, as a programming note, your boy Sherm had and started a fantasy football group. Please be on the lookout for that. Support him. If you have any questions, you can still hit him up anytime you need to. Love you guys. Fuck your teams. I'm out.